What's up, guys? I'm DK Wrestler, and in today's video, I'm going to be giving you guys our channel update for the year of 2024. Now, originally, I wanted to incorporate the channel update with yesterday's video. However, I just got really exhausted, and I just thought, you know what? I could probably pull this off as its own separate video. And I wanted to incorporate it in that video because I just didn't have as much updates this upcoming year like I did with last year's update, where we had like 5 different updates with like how the podcast is going. And especially the huge one from last year was our transformation from the name of a Funko Podcast to MDK Collects. So I did come up with a couple of things that are changing as terms to the channel, but it's not as much as we got last year, but still enough information though, I guess. So the first update of the channel does involve our podcast, a Funko Podcast, in which this upcoming week, respectively, we will be reaching both episodes 224 and 225 with our top 25 Funko Sodas and top 25 Funko Pops podcast. And there isn't really much of an update as terms to the podcast. We're still going to be doing them weekly, and especially the fact that with the podcast, if there are days where we're able to pull out a video that fills in the spot of a podcast, then basically we'll skip a week on that podcast. But for the most part, we're still getting weekly podcasts, and we're still going the current format we've been doing all year round, which was refreshing by just doing it topic based instead of basically the weekly Funko Pop announcements, considering that Funko a lot of times this year did not even do that many of announcements. So glad that we actually changed the format for this year because it just worked out perfectly. I think the biggest update in terms of the podcast though is I think we are planning on doing maybe one fandom related podcast a month. And I don't know all the details and the specific days of those podcasts, really any of the podcasts at all, besides that I believe we were planning in January to continue our ongoing WWE fandom related podcast, this time being around the Ruthless Aggression era, since we've already done the 3 previous generations before that as terms to Funko Pop podcast. And then there's a couple of best ofs that I think we've been discussing about, like best of Nickelodeon, and I think I may be wanting to actually do a best of anime podcast, but with a special guest, since I know MD isn't really that big into anime all that much besides a couple. So that would be a pretty cool one to do. But I think the last podcast we had planned for the year of 2024 actually is about The Simpsons, since it celebrates its 35th anniversary. MD is a huge fan of The Simpsons. I do like The Simpsons, and I think that would be a great way to end off the year with that fandom related podcast. And then we'll still have our regular on and off podcasts from there, like the quarterly soda podcast. We'll of course have the NFT podcast in January, and there's a bunch of other things. Hopefully this year we will be able to do special guests. The last couple of years we haven't really actually been able to. The last guest we actually had, Chris Sully, who used to work for Funko, back in January of 2021. So it's been almost 3 years at this point since we've had a special guest at all. So hopefully we do finally get special guests at this point, especially because that would be great to like fill in the slots for weekly podcasts. The second update as terms of the channel will be the videos involved with the channel. Of course, we have been grinding like crazy as terms to the channel. We have been doing quite a bit of content. I mean, in 2022, that's when we started 5 days of content with 5 long form content, Monday to Friday, get the weekends off. And 2023, we kind of pumped that up where it's still that format, but then Saturday and Sunday, we'd be giving you guys a YouTube Shorts. And there was also some days where we would do both a video and a Shorts on the exact same day. And as terms to the channel, and I'm not going to lie when I say this, it has been very overwhelming and it's been very stressful for both MD and I to fill in time to get long form content in and to fill in time to get YouTube Shorts in. And especially when you have days where both MD and I would be working certain days and it's like, oh, I have this day off, but then I work this day. And it's like, oh, well, I got this day off. Oh, well, I'm working that day. So 2023, lots of very big difficulties as terms to trying to get some content out on time. And so I think the format that we were planning on doing is more shorts than long form content video. And it's been a very hard decision about that because especially if you are a YouTuber that gets ad revenue from Google, you know very well that long form content you make more ad revenue off, way more than you get YouTube shorts for the most part. And so it's been a really difficult decision because nowadays we may not get our Google checks as often as we would, considering that we are taking out a lot of long form content. I just think in this case, by doing this, is that it's going to be a little bit more refreshing for us, considering that we don't have to work as much to get the content out. And especially with YouTube Shorts, I mean, I know that people do YouTube Shorts, considering that not only does it take a lot less time as terms to filming and editing, but YouTube Shorts, as of late, has been getting a lot of channels, a bunch of subscribers. And that's kind of the huge reason why, literally, I believe at the beginning of 2023, you've seen Top Pops actually have only about 500,000 subscribers. And now we're at the end of 2023, and I believe he's about to hit like 2.6 million. He jumped like at least triple his subscribers, probably just based off of YouTube Shorts, and especially getting those YouTube Shorts, and then it promotes the long form content. So he's making a little bit of money on the shorts, but a lot of money on the long form content because of the shorts, especially because it gives us time to make the long form content and not feel like we have to rush some content. I feel like there have been days where it's like, oh no, I have to release a video tomorrow. So then you just have to, in a very quickly manner, try to come up with a video, edit it, make sure it's all good, and then upload it, which takes a lot of time. I can tell you that with a lot of our long form content, not gonna lie, I probably edit and film about 12 hours a day every single day. And it's been very stressful because it takes a lot of time out of my day, especially because I want to go do some things outside of the channel. And it's very hard to do that because I'm so concentrated on giving you guys great content. And then the third and last update as terms to this channel, and this is going to be a weird way of explaining this as terms to how I'm going to present it as. But basically, the third and final update is that I don't even know if any of these updates are happening. Now, you're probably thinking, why did you just waste time explaining that there's going to be these updates while you don't actually know if they are going to be happening? 2023 has been a very stressful year. And I'm not going to lie, and normally I don't talk about this kind of stuff because I don't like bringing any negativity to the channel. But honestly, my mental health is on a very big decline at the moment. It is rapidly going down, and it is keeping on going down, especially with the amount of work that I do, whether it is the job or whether it's the channel or other things that I try to juggle everything because I try to keep as busy as possible to make the most out of my life. And a lot of recent events that have happened with me in my life have made me question about decisions of what I want to do in the future. And especially one of the biggest things is that I recently lost my job that's outside of the YouTube channel that I liked doing because it was a very flexible schedule. I got paid a decent amount of money, and especially getting that extra money besides the YouTube channel, I was able to fork up for you guys as terms to the Funko NFTs. And I'm not gonna lie, it was a very difficult decision for me to want to do that Mickey and Friends drop because I basically spent my last paycheck on that drop for you guys. And that was also because it was a drop exclusive in that I couldn't use the wax P that I accumulated over the years of doing Funko NFTs to pull out a video just using that instead of dipping into my own wallet. Luckily enough, I still have a little bit of cash left to be able to buy things for the Christmas holidays. But not gonna lie, the reason that I say I don't know if it's gonna happen is because I truly don't know if it's going to happen. It's honestly a day by day decision for me when it comes to all of this content. There's days I wake up and I'm like, I don't know if I want to do this anymore. But then there's days that I just have that little bit of fire. But at the same time, that fire is kind of almost running out. That's a huge thing of why I also talked about the shorts over the long form content, because it will take so much stress off of the both of us. So that way I'm not working so hard and that I have a little bit more free time to do a lot more things that I can do outside of the channel, like even going out and hanging out with friends that I haven't been able to do because I'm just so busy with this channel and trying to entertain you guys. And that's also a huge reason why we have currently going on the advent calendar of content, where we have 24 days in a row of long form content. And even then, it has been a little bit stressful trying to come up with the content, especially doing a channel update, which some of you guys were probably thinking, oh, that's a waste of time for one day. Not gonna lie, it probably is, because that's sometimes what you have to do. There are days where you can come up with a lot of content, but then there's days where, like I said, you have to just randomly come up with a video. Hopefully people like it. And that's what I also feel like, is that sometimes I feel like I'm letting you guys down when it comes to some days as terms to the channel. It's just, it has been very stressful, and I don't even want to try to end this video off super depressing. And I'm going to say, don't be surprised if January 1st, you don't see a video. January 2nd, you don't see a video, or you don't see a video for a little bit, because that mental health train is going on a downwards for me. Of course, we are going to attempt to end the advent calendar of content. It's even difficult for me to even think whether I want to continue the rest of the year with the channel or just end it off on that 24th day. I do want to let you know, this is, I guess, how I'm going to end it off, is that if you have been watching our content for the last year, the last couple of years, even back when we started this channel in 2019 and I was doing these random unboxings, I just want to let you know that I thank you for your love and support for all of these years on the channel, and that I am so grateful for the opportunities that the channel has brought me, whether it's the collaborations with Top Pops or the different pop hunts that I get to do, and then going to toy shows and selling pops, but getting to meet people that recognize us. That's how I'm going to end it off for the update. 1, 2, 3. I'm out of here.